Hi everyone, Angus Campbell here. It's Tuesday the 25th of June 2024. Right, going back to the B25SS paint and the right hand side panel. And when we left this a few days ago, just before the weekend, we'd done a lovely job of spattering this just as we were getting the right finish. Of course, I'll blame it all on the nozzle, etc, but it could have been my fat finger in the way doing that. But anyway, we'd run out of base paint because I'm going to need to sand this, probably put base paint on again, the silver base paint, and then the candy tone blue on top. And although this is all well dried out, if you do run your finger over lightly, you can just feel, you can feel very slightly these blobs, because obviously they've dried proud of the rest of the paint. So I'm going to do a light sand on that, very light, but then we'll go on to the base paint, the silver base paint. And the reason why there's more activity now is the paint's arrived. So we ordered 2 and 2 base coats and 2, they call it flamboyant aircraft blue, but it looks a good colour to me. And of course the reason why I've ordered all this is because we've got several more items to do. If this works out all right, then we've got the other side panel, the tank and the rear mudguard. We'll leave the front mudguard until last because we think that might be a factory paint, new old stock that's been put on there. Whether it's flamboyant blue or whether it's some other blue that they used to use on the Starfire, we're not sure. At the same time, the nozzle of the original can of flamboyant blue, which I've got plenty of actually, which is outside there on the right, you can just see it. I'm just cleaning up this nozzle in cellulose thinners. You can see there's blue paint coming out of it. I did spray the can upside down when after we last used it to clear the nozzle, but we'll just get all the excess off it, give it a brush down, and make sure that's as clean as possible. And then we'll do some test sprays on something else, a bit of cardboard or something. I know what we can use. Remember when we were doing test sprays before? Oh, there's so many stuff in this garage at the minute on this cardboard. We've got the other side. So we can do some test sprays with it on this to make sure it's not still misbehaving. If it is, we'll scrap the can and start again. Right, first of all then, quick rub down. I'm going to use wet and about 600 grit wet and dry because I don't think it'll take much to get these out. Right, there we go. Oh, I was going to say I think that's it, but I've just noticed another bit there. I'll do that bit too, and then I'm going to there's 1 or 2 places where I think I've gone through to metal, so I'm going to give it a light coat of etch primer, but we need to do a bit more. It is a pretty blue though, look at that. Etch primer done, just a light even coat, but we'll give that a little while to cure properly. Temperature today is crikey 26 centigrade in the sun. Slight light breeze, but it means it's very warm, very dry, great drying day. But I'm doing other things in parallel with this, so let's give this 10 or 15 minutes and then we'll put another coat of base coat on. Right everyone, we're ready for the candy coat, so let's film it real time so you can see the whole sordid mess as it pans out. First thing to consider is I'm going to give the can a damn good shake and just make sure it's that's not the reason. I've also done a spray test with that can and that nozzle and it's good. So let's get set up with the mask and give that can a good shake and see how it comes out. At least we've got plenty of paint now if we need to do it again. Well, I'll show you it in a mo. It's still spattered a little, but it's not bad. I think we might get away with it. Doesn't look too bad at the moment. We'll let it dry before we reserve judgment. The covering looks a little uneven to me. But it's not too bad. It's better than before. I'm just weighing up. Am I happy with that or not? Let's let it dry and I'll show you. I think my finger was getting in the way. And then baby, it's splattering from that. As you can see, it's a bit swollen, that finger. Even my arthritis. And if I'm doing that, yeah, that finger might be getting in the damn way. Right, we might have an answer. Anyway, let's let it dry and see how it comes out. Okay, it's well dry now. Well touch dry now anyway. I'm going to leave it a bit longer before we even attempt any lacquer, but I think I'm going to go with it. It looks, you can see it, can't you? It looks a little bit patchy, but almost authentic really. You can see one or two. They look worse on camera than they actually are. You can't see it too well this side because I'm in the way of the light. But it's definitely flamboyant. So I think, that's the worst one there. And you'll never be able to cover that. And you can see there's a few other little tiny ones. No, I think I'm going to go with it. So the next thing is to determine the position of the side panel transfers. Now most people put these right in the middle and that's wrong. What I'm going to do is dig out the marketing leaflet again, showing the flamboyant blue bike, and you'll notice the transfer is a bit high up, so let me get them here. So I'll split them. See, most people tend to put them around about there. They should be probably up there a bit. Anyway, let's leave that to bake for another half an hour, and then we'll put the transfer on. Get the leaflet out now. Well, it's not a very sharp image because this is a copy, but there you go. You can see it pretty clearly. It's quite high up on the side panel, and this is your factory marketing leaflet, so that's what we'll do. Every time I come back out to this, it looks better actually, so we're definitely going for it. So we really want it somewhere, I think, around there. Yeah, that'll do me. Right, I'm off to do some gardening and leave this for half an hour to an hour. Let it really harden off, and then we'll put the transfer on. Half an hour later, water slide transfer on. Now, I'm pretty pleased with that. You might think, well, it's tailing off to the right slightly, but remember this surface goes up and that one doesn't. So I'm pretty pleased with that. It does tail off a little bit towards the end there, and that's because the damn transfer on the water slide backing started to separate. So the 0 in the 250 went off, you know, for a swim on its own. So it was basically putting on in 3 pieces. So I'm fairly pleased with that. But anyway, let's just, I'm not fiddling with it anymore. That's, I think, more than good enough. So yeah, pretty pleased with that. But we've got to let that dry thoroughly now before we get anywhere near lacquer. But we will probably will do the lacquer this evening. So time now is was it 5:20? So yeah, we'll come back 6 o'clock, see if it's dried off well enough. It's very warm and a nice breeze, so we should be okay. Right, about an hour and a half later, 7:15 in the evening now, still lovely and warm. The sun is actually coming round now from the other side. So that means it'll come round and eventually it'll shine onto this. So I'm actually going to give it I'll start doing the lacquer coats now. Of course we can layer this on as much as we like really, but we'll start off fairly thin so we don't upset the transfer or what is a very thin coat of candy blue. So we just want to stabilise that basically. Right, I'll just give it a wipe down with something like a tack rag, and I'll give it a coat, and that should bring it up. Right, happy with that. She's shining. Little touch of orange peel, but look at the trees reflecting in that. Bit blotchy, the blue. Might be all right. It seems to be changing actually as it dries. So anyway, yeah, happy with that. So we'll let that dry off. Probably give it a couple more coats actually, but in perfect weather for doing this, so let's make the most of it. Right, another couple of hours later, so where are we now? 10 to 9 in the evening, so we need to get it indoors. But another couple of good coats on it, and she's shining well, even before we sort of polished or anything. We won't be polishing this for a while yet. Leave it for at least a week. But yeah, pretty pleased with that. We'll have to see how she sparkles in the sunshine. There we go. Right. Job done. So we'll call it there. And what we'll do in the next video on this, where we'll attack the other side panel and possibly the tank together, is we'll compare this side panel when it's all dried out with the original tank and see what sort of match we've got. But now I've got the lacquer on it, it sort of toned the blue down slightly, and it does look a lot more like the tone of blue in the photo of the factory bike in the sales leaflet. You know, that sort of blue. Possibly the front mudguard as well, but anyway. Also, you'll notice that you know, it was slightly, look, the blue looks slightly uneven and blotchy, but the lacquer seems to have masked that. Maybe it's the light, but it looks a lot better. I can still see it a little bit actually, but it just might be the light playing the tricks on it a bit. Anyway, we'll leave it there for now. So, thanks very much for watching, everybody. Thanks for any comments, thanks for your interest, any subscriptions. And next up, we'll need to do some work on Greg's Silver Jubilee Bonnie, because some parts have come in. Thanks very much, everybody. Cheers. Bye-bye.